Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yo, I just saw Demon Slayer. That shit is so hype. I know at the end is so sick. I know there's a movie coming out. I can't wait for it to come out though. There's a game coming out? No way. What kind of game is it gonna be like? It's gonna be like DMC or like Tales? Oh, that's gonna be so sick. I'm gonna go check it out right now. Is it live? Oh, thanks. Hey, what's up everyone? There's a Demon Slayer game coming out. I had no idea. I hope it's pretty sick. I hope it's like an action adventure RPG sort of style kind of game. That would be so kick. Okay, so it's like Naruto right now. Choose characters, but it's okay. You know, some games have the same layout. It's alright. It's okay. Alright. It's just Naruto. It's just Naruto. Why? Anime games are literally shit. They're a cheap and easy fix for every fan's needs. If there's an anime and you want a game out of it, you better expect the most basic bare bones game of all time, and you will eat it up. And I'm not talking about games like Yakuza, Gravity Rush, Catherine, Persona, Guilty Gear, Astral Chain, Fire Emblem. I can go on and forever with those games. I love those games, but what I can't go on forever are games that have a popular IP associated with them, like Berserk and the Band of Hawks. What kind of bullshit game is that? The biggest issues with anime games is that they all feel similar, and for the most part, they are. In the last couple of years, every game is outsourced to the same developers, and the issue becomes how these developers to make the IP for the anime interesting. The thing is, they don't. It's usually a rehash of the same shit they've done before with little to no improvements to make the IP any interesting. There has been a few odd animes that have slipped and are interesting, but the vast majority are the same garbage that we've gotten used to now. In addition to that, when thinking about anime games from already existing IPs, the anime seems to be far and few in the last couple of years. There really hasn't been that many games from anime that aren't One Piece, Naruto, or Dragon Ball. How many games at this point are ballerina games? How many are just Dynasty Warrior clones? How many are different but end up suffering because of a lack of time and budget? How many of them have to tell me the same stupid story over and over again? This was a complaint I had as a child. I hated that when I was playing Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2, 3, they would always follow the same story 1 to 1. There were a few slight variations told throughout, but I don't want to see the same story again. I don't want to see Goku screaming at the top of his lungs at the sight of Krillin dying anymore. I'm so sick of it. At least with the third game, the story was short and had a what-if mode, but that kind of mode has never been done again. But going back to the topic, do we need to see the same story again? If you're a fan of the anime, you would have bought the game for the IP, so you know the story anyways. And instead of rehashing the same bullshit, why not go beyond the anime? Why not go into an arc that hasn't been explored before? Or why not let these studios create their own story and call it an alternative universe? Why not change aspects of a story where people hated in the original and make it better? There are so many ways to get around this, but instead they do nothing original to make it better. The Storm games do something akin to this, but they don't change anything major. They only change a few minor things to make the fight scenes, for example, a little better. And when they do something original, it's always rubbish or incredibly minor. Like in the last few Dragon Ball games, Akira Toriyama created new characters like Android 21. She has a really cool design, but she's an afterthought in terms of story. Why not let the story of Fighters, the game where she came from, revolve around her? Why not make the story compelling to show her character, make it into a little arc, show her backstory, show how she came to be, show what kind of person she is, make it enduring, but instead, the story is boring and unoriginal. The second character, if you want to call it that, is Bunyus. You know, Bunyus, the sixth member of the Guinea Force? She was a selling point for Dragon Ball Kakarot? No one, huh? Well, she's a character, alright, who came and went. She's not a great character, or even an interesting character. She has a boring design and a boring story. But I think it's interesting that there was a sixth member. But this goes against what the anime and manga showed. And I find that adding to the original existing story that didn't need any changes is dumb. What they should have done was gone full-blown alternative reality that then incorporates a story. I would have loved for that to happen. And that's one of the ways they could get around it with a spin-off game. The Storm games had 2 spin-offs, both of which had no story mode, which makes no sense. Why not change events that occurred in the story and alter them in a way to make the story seem more like a movie? Or even, why not use Generations, right? Have the story be young Naruto and older Naruto come in contact, and for some reason they have to take down the big bad, and you have like interludes of old commentary with new commentary, and you see where Team 7, previous and new, have gone. That would be so sick. Like, why not change events in story mode for a spin-off game? At least then, okay? If people get upset that a story mode isn't good, you can be like, well, this is, a spin-off game. And that can be said for every anime game. I'm so sick of seeing the same story being told. It's repetitive. Why not let's explore something new? Why not let us have completely new alternative stories that can allow for both interesting and compelling things? In the past, we had this in Naruto Ninja 4, and I believe 5 had stories written by Masashi Kishimoto, the creator for Naruto. But that shouldn't be a selling factor. What should is a new take on the story. We don't need one from the creator themselves, but one that is different. But the issue becomes when they do something original, it's usually really boring and garbage. Actual garbage. For some reason, when it comes to story, nobody has any good ideas. In Fighters, it's about bad clones or something. In One Piece Pirate Warriors 2, bad clones. In Jump Force, Square Things makes people bad and now they have to fight. With Xenoverse, the story is marginally the same, but at least they tried something different. At least it's now like you as the character creation are there to support Goku in those events. At least that's a little different. And so we need to find a way to change this kind of stuff. But to be fair, I think it's perfectly fine if the anime hasn't had a game for a long time, like Bleach. The last Bleach game came out on the PS3, and before that, it was the PS2, but like very early. And that game was Soul Resurrection, Bleach Soul Resurrection. This game sucks, by the way, it's really bad. But this game was retelling the same story for the arc of Bleach of what it was currently. The issue becomes when the same story is being told for an anime that's already popular or one that's had like games already. And in turn, the same argument can be used for gameplay. Why is it now that we have to slug through the same mediocre gameplay that we have played for generations? Back in the PS2 days, and even before then, the games given weren't always amazing, but the genre for the games were always completely different. Going from the PS2 Dragon Ball games to PS3 Dragon Ball games was a huge downgrade. On the PS2, we had so many different types of genres. We had 3 Budokais, 3 Tenkaichis, 1 action-adventure beat-em-up, 2 different types of traditional fighting games. And now all we get is 3D brawlers, and maybe once in a blue moon something else may show up, but not really. On handhelds like the 3DS, the games were different, but never to the same level we had on a PS2 or GameCube. Not only that, but on the PS2 and previous consoles, the games weren't just regulated only to the popular anime, but almost everything, even ones that had no popularity to them, had an anime. Blood Will Tell, Fighting Fury, Zatch Bell, Fullmetal Alchemist, Shaman King, Gungrave, and so many more. Now, we do get the odd anime game here and there, but the genre is always the same. It's either a Dynasty Warrior game or a Battle Arena game. Rarely do we ever get anything else. And then there are times, very far and few, where the game is given any type of charm associated to the IP. The last and final time the genre was changed or given any type of creative freedom with budget was the Xbox 360 and PS3 era, right before Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. When that game came out, it exploded, and from there on, anime games have never been the same. The last really good anime game, ironically in my opinion, came from Ubisoft, with Naruto the Broken Bond. I'm not gonna get into why, but that game stuck to the source material, but it also had an expansive overworld with lots of things you could do, which also stayed within the realm of the source material, but then also allowed for the characters of Naruto to express themselves throughout the overworld. Ever since Bandai Namco had gotten a hold of the licenses for almost every Jump series, the games have fallen really hard, and that's just the truth. But can you or I blame Bandai for producing the same shit over and over again? No, because people buy them. Even though they're no good with little to no originality, at this point they're copy pastas, they sell. And when other companies see that, they follow suit. It costs almost nothing to make, and selling even 500 copies makes up for the cost of development for the reskin. So why should they care? Ironically, the One Piece games outside of Burning Blood and even the Pirate Warrior games might have had any type of budget associated with the anime genre. But even then, not enough time and budget was given. One Piece World Seeker should have been given more time and budget, because that game seems like it could have been the game to break the mold. That game was very much like Spider-Man PS4, and with enough time, it could have been that. But it's not, and the potential was there for a high-budget action-adventure open-world anime game, but instead the game came out and was a mediocre, as every other anime game, due to lack of content and due to lackluster gameplay. Dragon Ball Kakarot might not be amazing, but at least it might be in the right direction for where anime games could be going, but I highly doubt it, as it was just an anniversary game. And I have to also question anime companies, because it's not like Bandai owns every single anime license in existence. They own the majority, but not everything. Why doesn't Ghost in a Shell have any new games? The style of Ghost in a Shell and Deus Ex goes hand in hand. This literally could be an FPS detective game with a huge narrative plot that is also a combat simulator for what it means to be human. And then you can have elements of augmentations that question your eligibility of what it truly means to be a human. What about Berserk? Why doesn't that have a Souls-like game? There are plenty of developers who can make it, and you wouldn't even need FromSoft. Koei Tecmo made Neo. Just use that as a baseline. Or have the Mortal Shell devs take a spin. Or, if you really want to, have From Software, who loves Berserk, and who will love to make a game for it. And finally, because I can go forever, the last style of game I would want to say, but this is technically owned by Bandai, I think, is Gintama as a Yakuza clone. Let the plot be as over the top and bonkers as you want. Let the side quests be just as wacky as side episodes, and the gameplay like DMC. You wouldn't need to play as anyone else but Gintoki. Or have the game be a mock-up of the Gintama characters taking the piss out of the game industry, with the Odd Jobs crew doing jobs in the style of other games. That would be amazing! There are so many ways to make amazing games, but instead all we get is the same shit over and over again, that we've been fed for years because it's easy and cheap, and I frankly hate it. I can't stand it. There are so many developers out there who want to prove themselves, and if they could get the IPs for these franchises, they can. They can show the world, hey, look, we're good. We can make this. We can do this thing that you like, that you want to make, that you want. But because it's an original IP, it's really hard to sell that. But if they could get their hands on it, it would be amazing. Anyways, that's it for me. Please like, subscribe, and comment about what you think. Tell me if you actually agree or disagree. And I would love to see the comments on it. I would love to see the comments. I want to see why people keep buying these kind of games. Is it because you have no choice? Is it because this is the only way you can support the anime in a way? Because you don't want to buy the DVDs or Blu-rays? Because I get that. But yeah, nah, that's it. Anyway, do take care and see you, everybody.